G'day, so I'm making some videos now, it turns out. And I'm quite lazy, so I don't edit them, I just record them and hope for the best. This one, I'm going to talk about my experience of using Pimsleur. So I've been using Pimsleur to help with my French. I've completed levels 1, 2 and 3 of Pimsleur. So there's 5 in total, which would give you about 75 hours worth of audio lessons. So I've completed 45 hours worth of audio lessons. They are 30-minute lessons and there's 30 of them per level. So I'll just start by talking, just to give you a little bit of a background of where I'm coming from. I'm not an ultimate beginner in French. I did French in school. I also went on and off doing courses over the years because I kept being like, oh, maybe I'll try and learn French. And then I'd sort of sign up to a course, not do my homework, and then not really get anywhere, and then kind of leave it again and whatever. And I've been trying a little bit more seriously since January. I've been taking classes again since January. And so I think I am still in the beginner stages of language learning, but I would say I'm like a strong beginner. I'm not like a early beginner. And so yeah, I'm not using Pimsleur from zero. I'm using it to supplement other methods of learning. It's not my primary method of learning. I would say it's probably making up 15 to 20% of everything I'm doing. And the other thing I'll just note is I am doing all of the lessons in order. I'm doing each lesson once, strictly in order, but I'm not doing the one lesson per day, no more, no less, that they basically recommend, because I use it when I drive. And my driving is that I tend to go on medium to longish drives on a semi-frequent basis across the summer recently, and sometimes other times of the year, because I drive to events around the UK because of one of my hobbies, which is dancing and music. And so I'll often end up listening to like 5 to 10 lessons in a chunk, and then not listen to it for a week, and then maybe listen to one while I'm driving somewhere in the week, and then not listen to it for a few days. So that's kind of how I'm doing it. Perhaps it would be more effective if I did one after the other, but I'm not doing that. And one of the reasons, actually, I'll just start with one of the things I don't like about Pimsleur, because there are some things I do like about Pimsleur as well. And before I actually get really into my incredibly unstructured review, I'll just note this isn't sponsored. I don't have any links. This is just my opinion and experience using the app. So yeah, so the main reason that I'm not doing it every day, to be completely honest, is Pimsleur is really, really boring. Like, it is difficult for me to sit down and do a lesson or engage with a lesson. I tried to do that when I started level 1, but it was too boring. I would literally just fall asleep. Like, I would start doing a lesson and I'd be like, oh, maybe I'll concentrate better if I'm lying down. Never a good idea, but while you're feeling it, you just do it. And then I'd sort of wake up and I'd be like, oh, whoops, I missed the whole lesson, And I did that a few times, and I was like, right, I clearly cannot just listen to the lessons. If you have trouble sleeping, I recommend Pimsleur, 10 out of 10. So I decided I do need to be doing something. So sometimes I will like put it on while I'm like putting my laundry away or something, but the main time is when I'm driving. So the main reason I wanted to use Pimsleur, and I think the thing that I do like about it, is it's very speaking and listening focused. And because I primarily originally learned in school, my reading is a lot stronger than my speaking and listening. My listening is quite a weak skill for French. If you give me a paragraph like to read, and it's like within my level, like I'll understand it really well. But if you then audio played me the same paragraph without giving me the text, I would probably be completely lost. And so I also struggle to like produce the speech. I used to have like very, very extreme anxiety around speaking French. So I started taking one-on-one classes online once a week a few months ago. And in my first lesson, I was so anxious about speaking French that I actually felt like I was going to cry in the lesson. And I think this is just a mixture of probably some negative experiences holdover from school. I think a lot of people had negative experiences, especially in England, learning languages in school, and also just sometimes some parts of my personality and what I'm like. But yeah, I had super, super extreme anxiety about speaking. And so I really wanted a method that was going to encourage me to actually produce a little bit more, and in quite a safe environment where there's no one who's going to hear me and laugh at how bad my accent is, because it's just me and the audio tape, right? In my car. So it gave me the confidence to actually start speaking, and that's one of the things that I do really like about it, and it has really helped with me becoming more confident in trying to speak. The other thing that I really do like about it is it's not gimmicky. Like, it's not designed to be it's not gamified. I mean, as I said, it is really boring. So that's the downside of the same thing. But I do like that it's not trying to be addictive. It's not trying to be gamified. It's not trying to be one neat trick. I do like that about it. It's a slightly old school kind of approach, and it's to the point. It's like, just repeat these sentences, and we're going to learn them. And I do like that. So the other thing I'll say as well is it's probably quite good if you have a relatively short window of time, in which case you want to get up to speed with kind of tourist level French. So obviously they offer lots of different languages, but I'm mainly talking about Pimsleur French because it's the only one I've used. And as an aside, which language you use it for is probably going to make a difference in what your experience is. I haven't really tried doing any other languages on it, but I've kind of heard that some of the languages have better content than others. And also, if you're learning a language that's harder to learn from English, and they are obviously teaching from English. I don't know if they teach from other languages, but you're gonna probably find Pimsleur French a lot more useful than something like Pimsleur Mandarin, which you might struggle with things like tones and stuff. I don't know. I don't actually speak any Mandarin, but I can imagine it's less effective as a method if you're learning a language very, very different from your own. But yeah, definitely for Pimsleur French, it gets you up to speed quite quickly with the beginner stages, which I really like. And I feel like if you want it for tourist reasons, especially if you've got an upcoming trip, it's probably a good approach compared to other methods that might be a much longer term commitment. Because I've also started doing a bit of Dreaming Spanish since just over a month ago, and something like that where you aren't recommended to speak for the first something like 600 hours. If you're doing an hour a day, it's going to be a couple of years before you speak. So if the reason you're learning is because you want to go on holiday to a country of the language you're learning in the next X many months or year or whatever, and you want to be able to do your tourist interactions, then you kind of want a shorter term method with more focus on speaking and listening. And Pimsleur has just a heavy focus on tourist and very basic business language. You're always in a little conversation where you're asking someone what time they want to have dinner, or you're introducing your wife, or you're at a conference or something like that, and you're always an American man or an American woman in France, in the little setup they give you. And it just goes on. It basically just goes on, and it's like, suggest 6 o'clock. And it'll be like, she tells you she can't do 6 o'clock. Tell her you'd like to meet her at 8 o'clock or something. And it just goes on and on and on like that for a long time. So yeah, I mean, for me, I definitely have found that it has been helpful. So is it effective? For me, definitely helpful for my speaking and listening. That's obviously using it as a supplement to other forms of learning. I think if I was doing it completely on its own, I would be struggling, because I am a beginner, but I think I'm a strong beginner. I'm not like a zero beginner. And by the time I got into level 3, I was struggling a little bit more to keep up. Not so much that I felt I need to repeat lessons, and I haven't repeated any lessons, but I have to be paying more attention, and I am sometimes missing things. And I think that if I wasn't starting with already a little bit of a base in French, I would really be struggling. They also don't teach any grammar. You just kind of have to sort of pick it up through the sentences they teach you, which I think can either be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on what you want from your French or whatever. For me, because I did do French in school and I've taken classes and things like that, so far all of the grammar that has come up in the sentences they've taught me has been stuff where I do happen to already know the rule. But I have wondered how confused I would be if I didn't know that. Would I just accept it, or would I just feel really lost or not understand why it suddenly said like this? So yeah, I'm not really sure, but I do feel like for me, I probably would have been a lot more confused if I was trying to use it from nothing. And the other thing I'll just talk about is the cost. So the cost varies. You can buy them as a set, or you can subscribe to the app. I'm not sure exactly the prices to buy them as a set, because I think they vary by language. But to subscribe is something in the range of $20 or £18 or something like that a month. I have subscribed because I can afford to do so, and it's helping my French at the moment. I don't think it's amazing value, to be completely honest. I don't think it's terrible value. I think it's okay value. I think that other platforms that are either streaming or language learning apps with a similar amount of content and a similar or comparable potential level of effectiveness are competing with that price, basically. So Yeah, I mean, I basically feel like if you want to do lots of speaking practice, if you want to get up to speed with tourist level interactions, and if you can afford the subscription, then in my opinion, premium is worth it, especially as a supplement to language learning. But it's not something I would rave about. I mean, I'm already on level 3, and it's I like that it's hands free. You don't have to look at a screen. I can do it while I'm driving, and I think that's one of the things that really appeals to me as well. I don't have to have my exercise book. I don't have to have my phone. I don't have to have a screen on. I don't have to be, using my hands to do it or looking at the thing. I can be doing another task. I can be putting my laundry away. I can be driving somewhere or whatever. And so the ability to have a lesson while I'm doing other things is the main appeal for me. If there was something about it that made me not able to listen to it while I'm driving, I probably wouldn't use it, because I definitely wouldn't put the lessons on just to sit and listen to at home. I just wouldn't be able to do that. So yeah, so my opinion of Pimsleur so far is mixed. As I said, I've finished level 3. I've recently started level 4. I'm actually a lesson into level 4, and I am planning to eventually finish all 5 levels, and I'm hopeful that it's going to help my French speaking. I'm not going to demonstrate it for you now, just because my French level is kind of so crap that it will just be embarrassing. You'll just hear my very clumsy British accent. However, I will say I did travel in both Belgium and France recently in May, and I kind of felt reasonably confident, at least for basic tourist interactions, So ordering lunch, ordering a waffle, ordering my coffee, all of that went fine. And when they asked me the questions, like what size would you like? Is your coffee iced or hot? I was able to understand the question and answer. I did actually get caught out by one question because they asked me what milk I wanted in a coffee, and that completely threw me. So yeah, but generally speaking, it went pretty well, and I don't think Pimsleur necessarily taught me the things that I was saying in those situations, but it definitely helped give me the confidence to actually do it, because as I said, I was so anxious about speaking French. I think without doing Pimsleur, I probably would have frozen up to a higher degree, because and it also allows me to speak better in my lessons, because it's giving me that opportunity to be speaking in French in a very safe environment where no one else can hear me. And then when I get to a point where I have to produce it to another person, either to my teacher or in the cafe in France or whatever, it's easier for me to get it out of my mouth almost, because I feel like my anxiety about it was making me kind of just freeze up and not say anything before. So yeah, I would say if you're anxious about language learning, one of the benefits of Pimsleur is that it kind of allows you to feel like you're having a conversation with a person, even though it's a preset conversation and you're being told what to say, but in a very safe feeling environment that allows you to kind of learn to produce it. So yeah, so there isn't an exact conclusion. My experience of Pimsleur has been mixed. I think my main 2 points are very boring but relatively helpful for me. I'm going to continue doing it. I might give another update, especially once I complete all 5 levels. Maybe I will at level 4. It depends on whether I think I have any strongly different views once I've finished level 4, or anything of note to add that I haven't already said. But I will maybe try and give an update once I finish level 5, which could be any amount of time. So that's it. Goodbye.